Welcome back to the Deal Vault podcast. If you're a real estate investor looking to scale, secure funding, and learn from real deals, you're in the right place. I'm Greg, and together with Nate and Sarah, we'll sit down each week and break down market trends, funding strategies, real deal stories from our investors. Now, if you're ready to unlock knowledge, relationships, and capital you need, let's open the vault.
Okay, so like coffee mugs.
I don't have
Controversial.
I know where this is going. And I already disagree strongly. Can I just...
So, Sarah, how's it feel to be wrong?
Okay, two-part question. The coffee mugs. Do you wash the inside of them? And why not?
Are you starting with me?
Yeah.
If you are not in the military, you must always wash your coffee mugs.
You don't have to be a civilian to.
That
You don't have to be a
That is
soldier.
what I've learned.
Like,
The
you can
only
be a civilian,
environment
the
where it
dirty-
is acceptable and actually celebrated to be disgusting and have a dirty, grimy coffee mug.
The inside of this
Right?
mug
Like,
is.
I feel what your mug says on the outside is exactly what is happening on the inside. Embrace
Embrace
the
the
suck.
suck.
The suck has been embraced.
But
It
you know what?
does.
Okay, so we got Sarah's take.
I need the history though, because I know you gave me the history lesson and I felt a little bit more accepting.
I mean, Greg's probably got the best
Oh,
historical reasoning.
So in the Navy, the chief's mess is your senior enlisted leaders of the Navy. They kind of make all of the things happen. They don't wash the inside of their mugs, and they hold that as like a place of pride. Like the inside of their mug is black. And what it does, it shows that they've been around a long time. It shows their experience, their saltiness. So it represents experience.
The more
Sarah?
faded a Marine's uniform is, the more respected. Like,
Exactly.
You've learned
That
that.
guy's been
thing.
around. Salty guy. Now, really funny story is when I joined early on, there was an ensign, which is an 01, otherwise known as a butter bar.
Second lieutenant in the Army.
Yep.
I like ensign though, because it's just a weird word.
That's weird.
And so it's just like, if you're
Weird.
getting called ensign, it's just like, come here, weirdo.
Go away. It's like, get over here and do something. So this ensign, join the Navy, yippee, gonna go help and get it done. And they saw in their mind's eye a dirty mug.
The dirtiest mug they've
Are you
ever
speaking
laid eyes
about
on.
yourself as the
course
ensign?
not.
Were you this ensign?
Of course
Just
not.
kidding.
But this ensign took it upon themselves to wash what they saw as the dirtiest mug they had ever seen. That was Senior Chief's mug. And
24 years of crime.
Did he get kicked out?
No, they were never seen again. End of story. I don't. Maybe not. These are secrets of the military.
So I have learned all of the military isms. Do I know them and do I agree with all of them? I'm not in the military, so I like to clean out my mugs, but I've learned to respect a dirty mug.
So it's kind of like seasoning, a cast iron skillet. And really, I mean, if you don't put any, milk or any sort of dairy product in there, if it's just water and coffee grounds, like,
Good. It's good.
and you're drinking out of it constantly, I think that you're keeping everything moving, and so it doesn't give anything time to grow.
It's science.
He's a
I think
nurse.
we need to put this up to the team for the test.
So
That
loan
history.
real estate investing.
Yes.
That was a really good one, Nate. So today, outside of talking about how your experience can show from your coffee mug, we were going to talk about what would you, Nate, the guy that's going to help me with a loan for my deal, what do I need to know to tell you so that you can go help me? Like, what is that?
Yeah. So I get to have a lot of conversations with people that I've never spoken with before, who, whether they heard through a friend or, were looking online and found us or anything like that we do loans, both rehab loans and DSCR loans. And so we'll kind of stick with, 30-year DSCR for now.
Okay.
But it because it's a hair simpler as far as like upfront information. But I think something that we pride ourselves on, that I talk to my team about all the time, is like, let's just make it super easy for folks to get a deal summary. I think I talked to too many individuals who are like, "Yep, I'm in talks with a couple of lenders, so just be aware. You got to give me your best." I'm like, I was always going to give you that, but
Yep.
But
So-
but-
you
so Nate,
questioned me.
but
What's
since
your rate?
yeah, exactly,
What's your rate? Tell me what your rate is.
Yeah.
I can tell you now. Tell me what your rate is. What do you need to know, Nate, to tell me your rate? But not only just tell me your rate, what you really want to know, what I as the investor really want to know, whether I'll admit it or not, is like, what's the rate that my deal and me can get, not what's your best rate. Even though like that, I think that's one of the challenges is people go out there and they're willing to be lied to, and people are willing to entertain that. We're not. Like, we just won't entertain what's your best rate. It's really not that helpful to do that. What's really helpful to the investor is what's the best, maybe if rate is the most important, because it's not always the most important, frankly, but let's say that it is. What's your rate for my deal that I can actually get? Like, that's the full question. So if I'm willing to ask that full question, which investors ask the full question, what's your best rate, is really not helpful.
I can tell you my rate floor,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
what you're gonna get.
But it's not what you're
more
going to
than
get,
likely.
because I don't know what your FICO is. You're probably not willing to go lower LTV to get there, and you don't want to do a buy down, right?
And it's an $80,000 property, not a $250,000 property.
So the full question is, hey, what's the best loan you can do for my deal?
Yeah.
Like, that's the full question. So if I want an answer to that, Nate, as the investor, what's the best loan for my 30-year DSCR loan?
Yep.
What do I need to be able to tell you so you can go do your job and give me an answer, like an honest, transparent answer to that question? What do I need to tell you?
Yeah. So first thing I'm going to do is just ask for the property address. Let's talk about, city and state that it's in. Let's make sure that this is in a location that, one, we as a lending partner can operate in. 43 states and territories that we can operate in, only a handful that we can't. So always want to check on that. But for the most part, we're operating in areas that investors are also looking. So
So with that, you could check if it's rural or not as
Yeah,
well, right?
100%.
Like,
That's
that
implication.
matters. It matters.
Call it exclusive. So I
yes,
just need to
the-
say that.
Well,
Well,
exclusive properties
Exclusive.
can be limited to 65% LTV instead of getting full
Okay.
80.
But even though somebody, like, if they don't vet that, you're still going to get the 80% quote on a purchase deal, even though you may not actually be able to get that. So, okay, I've given you my address, 123 Main Street in wherever, USA. Boom, you've kind of vetted, I can operate in that state, and you've vetted this is or is not rural. We can deal with either of those, but you now have an understanding, so you
Yeah.
can now a little bit more accurately present a loan. What else do you want to know?
So we want to talk about deal metrics, to help us calculate your debt service coverage ratio, or DSCR. And the way that we do that is just asking about, hey, what's the expected monthly rent? Or if it's a refinance, what's your actual rent? And is there a discrepancy there, do you think, between that and the market rent? So,
Yeah.
might say, hey, monthly rents are $1,500. Cool. What's your estimate on annual taxes and insurance? Because those are the expenses that are going to be coupled with your monthly payment for your new mortgage. And as long as those monthly rents cover the PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, then you can have that loan. The questions that are borrower specific, let's keep it to a purchase, would be, hey, what's your credit score? And because at least a 660 credit score is required. However, maybe a program that can give you an 80% loan at 660 needs that property value to be at 100K or greater. And maybe we're talking about a 75K property or something like that. So then I start honing in on, coaching as far as what's available. But, borrower says, yeah, I have a 745 FICO. That's fantastic. And then I just ask about available liquidity for down payment, closing costs, and having some reserves left over while you find a tenant.
So it would behoove me to really communicate what liquidity, like, all together, that I've got. Does that mean that you're gonna take it all from me, Nate?
It is. I'm asking, how much money do you have? So that way I know how much I can charge
How
you.
much can I get from you? Or
No, like, we're going to, the guy who's like, well, I'm going to need your best. Well, I was going to put my best in front of you anyways. And I'm going to put it in front of you today. That's the one thing that bums me out is that like a lot of lenders out there, they're like, I've just been waiting, 3 or 4 days since I talked to somebody, just waiting on that quote from them. I'm like,
3 or 4 days.
how about I send you something right after we jump off the line? Because you are trying to execute on a deal right now. So I think
That
speed matters,
Speed
or at least we want to move at whatever speed the borrower wants to move at.
Right.
So if the investor wants to move fast, then I have that same sense of urgency.
Cool. So you asked about liquidity, and maybe like just say what you got so that you can rule in or out that
I
bit
have
of
enough.
information as
My favorite answer.
yeah, I have enough. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what's enough? Do you know the program guidelines? Like, likely not. That's actually your job. So yeah, it's helpful for me, the investor, to just say, hey, this is what I've got that I can show on paper, and then it's also helpful to say, hey, here's what I anticipate being able to put into this transaction, because you want to look out for that. Like, that's your job. And maybe those things don't align with the loans that are available, or at least I might need to adjust my expectations. So you can interact with that on the front end so that you can get the right loan for this person that they can actually execute on. So the other thing that you brought up is, what's your FICO? So I'll throw in the other thing is like, do you have a partner? Like this matters as well, so that we can know whose are we looking at. We're gonna look at both. Whose do we want to try to use, and that can guide program placement so that we can make sure that we're taking advantage of the best FICO.
That might have a guy on the
credit.
LLC who is amazing at swinging hammers, and that's what he brings to the table. But like, he routinely runs his credit cards up, making Lowe's runs, and so his credit is, under what we would want it to be in order to get the best possible loan. So that, and oftentimes, investors offer it up, freewheeling. Hey, but I have a credit partner who is, we're 50-50 on this LLC. He brings some money into the deals, and he's got a 784.
Who's managing the cash flows?
Exactly.
Expense.
I'm there dealing with tenants and, getting these places rent ready.
Sure.
And so those sorts of partnerships we interact with all the time.
Yeah. So note for a future podcast: are you a Lowe's guy or are you the Home Depot? Like, this is a big. I mean, we need to talk about this. Not today, but we definitely need to tease this out a little bit
I've
later.
got my answer.
Noted. So okay. So you've got the property address. We know where this thing's at. Are there any implications there? We know what you're going to buy it for or what it's worth, and are there any implications associated with that? We know the information, income, and expenses associated with the property so that we can do a debt service coverage ratio calculation, DSCR calculation, see if that's a problem or not that we need to solve for. And then we've looked at the borrower or borrowers. Do they have a FICO to qualify, and do they have enough liquidity to execute the transaction? What else do you need to know, if anything?
Are they under contract?
Yeah, it's helpful, right? Yep. If I'm not under contract, can you help me, Nate?
How long have they been under contract?
Yeah,
Let's just be real, because you may be their third person, or maybe their realtor didn't say, oh, by the way, you need to try to get a loan for this.
Yeah. And hey, we got this deal under contract because we offered a 2-week close.
Oof.
Okay. Well, then there's other loan options that we can execute on to meet that closing timeline, but it's not going to be a 30-year loan.
It's just good to know, because like, we can still help you, right? But it may look a little different than what you thought. But man, if you pursue that DSCR loan because that's what somebody told you or you have in your head, you are gonna be disappointed. Like, it's the wrong loan product for that. So like, us just knowing that's really, really helpful. So okay, we've got all this information. What are you gonna do with that?
Yeah. So I intake all that information, and once we jump off the phone, immediately I'm working on usually I can share what available leverage and interest rate the borrower has, over the phone, just so that way they leave that conversation, feeling empowered, feeling like they know what their loan will look like. But I want to put it in writing too. I tell people all the time, hey, you can write this down if you want to. I'm going to send you an email. And so I send a loan summary immediately, and then outline next steps also, that just lets them know, like, here's what your financing would look like.
Perfect. So I know I've got this deal and a guy or gal behind it that can actually like show me what this looks like. Yeah, I mean, it's on paper, but you can answer those questions. That's typically what we do. We send loan proposal out. Like, here's what this looks like. And we want to be on the phone pretty quickly with you afterwards so that you don't misinterpret something on there. We can walk you through this, answer any questions that you've got. And then another,
What's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mean?
yeah, what the heck does that mean? Like, outside of like explaining that in a paragraph, we're going to put it on there and we want to walk you
Yeah.
through that. A lot of people are like, yep, I know exactly what that is. A lot of people don't. We want to be able to answer that stuff.
It's a step down.
Here's what I think, guys. With hearing all of this, the only thing I've been thinking about the whole time is how borrowers probably could really benefit from the bring the pen analogy.
Bring the pen's a good one.
This is a loan bid trademark, I believe. I don't think you stole it from anyone else. I think you actually came up with this on your own. But I do think
Actually, believe it or not.
you are very clever and pull a
Right.
lot of stuff from, other things, I will say, better than I do. But like that's all I've just been thinking about is like the difference between the borrower that's willing to, which I'll let you share what we call the bring the pen moment, and how quickly you can expedite a successful loan quote options and then a successful loan process. So Greg, because it's yours, I will let
If a
you
borrower brings the
take
pen,
the pen.
then we can do a lot with that.
Yeah. So, and if they don't know how to bring the pen, which I'll share the story, but if they don't know, like, we'll show you how to do that because it's going to help you really well. So here's the bring the pen word picture. So I have a 13-year-old that learned this lesson a few years ago, maybe when he was 10-ish, and now our 10-year-old has recently learned how to bring the pen. So if you have kids, we all know that they bring home the thing that they need to sign so that they can go on the field trip or do the thing at school or whatever. There's a million of these things, at least a couple a week. And our son would say, I need you to sign this. And I'm busy cooking dinner or whatever. And I just, I don't know if maybe I was frustrated. I don't know, but I was busy helping him in another way. Right. Probably, says my wife. Yeah. Which means she's right.
Okay.
But I told him, I was like, buddy, if you want this thing, it would be best for you to help me help you, quoting Tom Cruise. Help me help you. Bring the pen. If you want me to sign something, bring the piece of paper. Don't make me go hunt for the pen. Bring the pen as well and make it really easy for me to help you.
Yeah.
And I kind of gave him a rule is I won't sign something unless you bring the pen because I know that's going to help him later in life. And by golly, he took it to heart.
Yeah.
And it's a joke in the house. It's like one time he'll forget and he's like running around. I'm going to find this pen. It's easy.
Say that now. I remember hearing you the other day being like, good job bringing the pen. But again, we use that internally of just like if our team members need help or support, it's like, hey, I'm going to need more because it's going to take me a lot longer to get to a solution and know how to help you if you don't give me something to support you better.
So, yeah.
Let me start this conversation with you mid-conversation in my own head. And you just let me know when you catch up.
Figure it out, right? So hopefully that word picture, right? And maybe what this little podcast does is it helps the borrower bring the pen to the conversation so that they can get what they want.
Investors know all of that information.
They know it, but it's just, how do I present this? Like, what things does the loan guy need to consider to give me your rate, right? Because we want to be able to provide that, but we also want to be able to provide that accurately. So hopefully this is helpful. Thank you for that. For the investor to bring the pen to the conversation so that your loan guy, even if it's not us, can help you more better. That's what we want. So bring the pen to the conversation. And if you need a little help understanding how to do that, your loan person should be able to help you with that. We're obviously, we enjoy educating people because what I have learned from our 13-year-old, if anything, is they want to bring the pen to the conversation. Yeah. If you don't know how, you can get that education because it does help you.
Totally.
Yeah. Really good. Awesome.
Sweet. The next time we're going to talk about I've got a deal and what
now what? Right. Now what? Thanks for listening to the Deal Vault. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe and share with another investor and leave us a review. If you're looking for help funding your next deal, you can always holler at us at loanbids.com. We'd love to help you on that deal. Until next time, keep building, keep investing.